So WWDC 2022 is just right around the corner. And what should we expect? I'd expect to see a new Swift 6 and also an Xcode 14. So the only things I really see happening in those departments is probably just new features and new APIs, and maybe possibly working on other platforms such as Windows. For software updates, we got iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, macOS, and the one we can't seem to get away from, tvOS. Okay, so the biggest change happening with iOS 16, as far as I can tell and all the leaks I've gathered up, is interactive widgets. It will make it a lot nicer. I figured Apple would have done this from the get-go, but hey, if they're gonna add it now, it's better late than never, right? The biggest change for iPadOS is probably gonna be the floating windows. I mean, it's gonna make the functionality of the iPad so much better, and you'll have so much of a better experience. As it's a tablet, a lot of people probably would use the multitasking feature, especially when it comes to productivity. I mean, who doesn't like to be productive on their iPad? Okay. Yeah, let me take that back. It's great to watch movies and YouTube videos on. Something that would change iPadOS is if they add functionality for Final Cut Pro. I'd imagine it'd probably just be a slimmed down version. But hey, I'd rather a slimmed down version of Final Cut Pro than not having it on there. I love Final Cut Pro. I assume the Final Cut Pro for the iPad would only be able to run on the ones with the M1s, but a lot of people who buy the cheaper iPads probably aren't looking to use Final Cut. Most of those people probably would buy the iPad Air or the Pro. For watchOS, if they add this feature, I would really appreciate it. It is a new way to view all the apps you have. Right now it's just this little clunky thing, and sure, you can change it to a list view, but you can't get as much apps compared to if you had this concept, which makes it a lot easier to find the app you want and probably a lot faster. I couldn't find much leaks on macOS. I'm sure they're going to do some things to make it nice and add some more functionality between devices, but again, I couldn't really find much on this one. For tvOS, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't really care much about tvOS, as I'm sure you guys probably don't, to provide any information. But I would assume that there's going to be a new version of tvOS, as there is every WWDC. And now, time for the part you guys have been waiting for. The hardware. So, the hardware, yeah. This one's kind of tough to say. As the event is titled Call to Code, I assume that there's not going to be much about hardware announced, but if anything, I would definitely expect to at least hear about the Mac Pro, and it probably won't be released to the public until maybe later this year. It's just hard to say when the Mac Pro will actually be out to public. At this WWDC, it marked their 2 years of them saying that it'd take 2 years to complete this transition, so they better announce it. And for some reason, Apple, if you're watching this, you better announce something about the Mac Pro. As far as hardware goes, maybe we will hear something about the M2 series lineup. I mean, it'd be nice to hear at least a little bit about it, to know what they're working on. They're rumored to be working on a 15-inch MacBook Air. I mean, I'm just more excited about the Pros. And if they're actually working on an iMac Pro. I found leaks that they ditched it, then I found leaks that they didn't, so I just want to know if they're working on it, because who doesn't like the iMac? But anyways, guys, I hope this gave you some more insight about what to expect at WWDC 2022. If you like this video, you might like the other one up here. At least I think that's the right side, hopefully. But anyways, sign off.